Good morning students and welcome to our YouTube channel Gnan Manjari Modern School. And today we will start with our new chapter, lesson number 2, that is components of the food. First of all, what are the components of the food? We will study that how many components are there in the food. There are mainly 5 types of component: carbohydrate, minerals, vitamins, and there are 5 types of the components in the food. We will study deeper with the lesson as we go on. First of all, we will study the 5 types of the components. Let us discuss that. First of all, see here in your textbook page number 19, components of the food. The first topic, that is food contains nutritions. Nutritions are the substance that are needed by our body for healthy growth and functioning. Nutritions are the substance that are needed by the body for the healthy growth and functioning. Okay students, it can be asked in your weekly test that what is nutritions. Okay students, now we will see the 5 types of the components of the food. Let us see that. main component main components of food. Okay students, main components of the food. Let us see that the first main component is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate. Carbohydrates. The next one is fats, and the next one is protein, and the another one vitamins, and the last mineral. So students, these are the main 5 types of the components of the food. Okay students, which are they? Carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. So now we will see one by one that what are carbohydrates, what are fats, what are proteins, what are vitamins, and what are minerals. Let us see that. First of all students, we will see the carbohydrate. What is carbohydrate? Let us see that. So now we will discuss about carbohydrate in deeper. Carbohydrates. So first of all, what is carbohydrate and how it is used and essential for the body? Let us see that carbohydrates are important to our body. Okay students, they provide us energy need to work throughout the day. I am writing the main points of the this thing over here in the board. Also you can underline in your textbook. Provides provide us the energy to work through the day. This is the main first point of the carbohydrates. And the second, starch and sugar are the two main components. Or there are mainly five components of the food, and further it is divided from carbohydrate, and from carbohydrate there are two more types. Which are they? Let us see that if two types of carbohydrates, that are sugar and starch. Starch and sugar. Okay students, these are the two main components of the carbohydrates. Okay students, and next we will study about the sugar and starch in deeper. Okay students, see here, first of all we will read the carbohydrates are important to our body. Okay students, and they provide us the energy to work through the day. Okay students, and further it is divided into two parts, that is starch and sugar. Okay students, now we will study about sugar. What is sugar? Okay students, what is sugar? There are mainly types of sugar. Table sugar, fruits and honey are some of the sources of sugar. Means which are the sources of sugar? Can you tell me students? From where does the sugar we get? We get the sources of the sugars are table sugar, sources of sugar. Which are the sources? Table sugar, then which can table sugar, and then it is written in your textbook, table sugar, fruits and honey. Fruits and honey. So these are some of the sources of the sugar, table sugar, fruits and honey. We all know we also get the sugar from the sugar cane. Okay students, by the processing the sugar cane we get the sugar. Okay students, and now we will see next. Here we will read first of all, table sugar, fruits and honey are some of the sources of sugar. Okay students, milk contains a type of sugar called lactose. Milk also contains sugar, and in the milk that sugar is known as lactose. Okay students, now next we will see is starch. I am rubbing it. What is starch and how it is used, and what are the sources of the starch? We will see it. Okay students, first of all we will read that what is starch. Green plants that make their food in the form of sugar, some of which is converted and stored as starch in the plants. We have seen in the photosynthesis process that the green plants make their food by their own, and this process is known as photosynthesis process. And from that, by the carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil, and in presence of sunlight, the starch is obtained and stored in some parts of the plants. Okay students, so the first point teaches us that rice, wheat, corn, potatoes and bread are some sources of starch. Okay students, also we will start writing with it. Starch. So, what is starch first of all? Green plants makes their food. Green plants make their food in form of sugar, some of which is converted and stored as starch in plant. So here we will see that green plants make their food in the form of sugar. Green plants make their food by the photosynthesis process, in which they produces sugar. They produce their food in the form of sugar, and some of which is converted and stored as starch in the plant. Okay, students. And next is the sources of carbohydrate. Starch. The source of starch are rice, wheat, corn, potatoes, and bread. So these are some of the sources of the starch. Okay, students. Here, what first of all we have seen the main 5 components of the food, that are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. And then further we are studying about the carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is further divided into 2 parts, that is sugar and starch. First of all, we have seen the sugar. The main source of the sugar are table sugar, fruits, and honey. Okay, students, these are the main sources of the sugar, and there is a sugar in the milk is known as lactose. Okay, students, and then we come to the starch. Green plants make their food in the form of sugar, some of which is converted and stored as starch in the plants. So, in this point, we all know in the previous chapter we have seen that the plants produce their food by their own only. So, how they produce by their own food? They do photosynthesis process. The process from which we can say that carbon dioxide from the air, water from the soil, and in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, the sugar is produced and releases oxygen, and this is the green plants make their food in the form of sugar, and some of which is converted and stored as starch in the parts of the plants. Okay, students, and then we have seen the main sources of the starch: rice, wheat, corn, potatoes, and bread. They are the sources of the starch. Okay, students. Now next point is, when we eat starch containing plants product, our body breaks down the starch into glucose, which can be easily utilized by our body. Here in the figure number 2.1 shows the rich sources of the starch. So in this point we have seen that when we eat starch and it is directly body break down that and it is convert starch to the glucose. Okay, students. So I am writing the next point. when we eat starch containing plants, our body our body break down the starch into glucose. Okay students, so these are the main points of the starch, which green plants make their food in form of sugar, some of which is converted and stored as a starch in the parts of the plant. And sources of the starch: rice, wheat, corn, potatoes and bread. And when we eat the starch containing food, our body breaks down the starch into the glucose and it is directly utilized with our body. Okay students, so these are the main points of these, and now we will see the further. See here there are some of the pictures of the rich sources of the carbohydrates, which are the main sources of the carbohydrates. Let's see that there is a picture of bread that we eat, wheat, okay, cornflake, honey and potatoes. So these are the main sources of carbohydrates. Let us discuss it again. So there are how many components of the food? Carbohydrate, fats, protein, vitamins and minerals. Okay students, and we are studying about the carbohydrate, and carbohydrate is further divided into two parts, that is sugar and starch. Sugar is obtained from the main sources of sugar are table sugar, fruits and honey. Okay students, and there is a sugar in the milk. This is known as lactose. And then we have studied the starch. Green plants make their food in the form of sugar, some of which is converted and stored as starch in the plants. And sources of starch are rice, wheat, corn, potatoes and bread. When we eat the rich starch source directly and our body directly utilize break down the starch into the glucose and it is directly utilized by our body. Okay students, if you want to write this point, you can write down. Now we will see next. What is next? There are two activities in your book next. Let us see the two activities. Okay students, here the first activity aim to test the presence of sugar in a food sample. What is the aim? We have to test that there is in the food there is the sugar is present or not. Material needed: food sample, water, Benedict's solution, test tube and Bunsen burner. Okay students, method. So now we will discuss the method. Crush a small amount of the food sample and add it to the test tube. Add some water to the test tube and shake it. Add few drops of Benedict's solution to the test tube. Heat the test tube for about 1 minute. And observation, what we will see: depending on this amount of the glucose, the blue color of the Benedict solution turns green, means it indicates the sugar is containing low sugar contains. Yellow, it indicates medium sugar content. Or brick red, it contains high sugar content, as shown in the figure. Okay students, see here, there is a blue color in the solution, then the sugar is not present, and if there is a green color solution, then very low sugar is present. And if there is yellow color, means low solution, low sugar. And if there is orange color, brick red color solution, then it is moderated, means more than the low. And if there is a red, then it is very high sugar in your food. Okay, students. Now, conclusion. The changing of the color of the benrich solution confirms the presence of the sugar. Means, in this activity, what we have seen that there is a sugar or not in your food. We have to test that. For that, there is we have to crush the food and put in the test tube, and then we have to add the benrich solution, as there are different colors in it. The colors can decide how much sugar is there in the food. Okay, students. And the next activity, here is the next activity, to test the presence of starch in the food sample. First of all, what we have seen? We have seen the sugar is present or not in your food, and now we will see the starch is present or not. Okay, students. Material needed: food sample, water, dilute iodide solution, and test tube. Crush small amount of the food sample and add it to the test tube. Add some water to the test tube and shake it. Let the test tube cool. Then add a few drops of dilute iodide solution to it. See here. The observation: the food sample turns blue-black, means the presence of the starch. If there is no color change, it means there is starch is not present in your food. Okay, students. What is the activity? The aim to know that the presence of starch is there or not in your food. So we have to first of all crush the food into the small pieces. Okay, students. And then what we have to do? We have to put in this test tube, and we have to add water and just shake it well, and then we have to add some drops of the dilute iodide solution. Then if it converts to the blackish solution, then it is the starch is present in your food, and if it not converts into blackish, then the starch is absent in your food. Okay, students. This is the two activities. And now just we will see the fats. What are fats? Our new talk, the second main source of we have done the carbohydrates, and now we are discussing about the fats. So what are fats? Okay, students. Now let us see what are fats. Fats keeps our body warm and also provides us energy. So this is the main point. Fats keeps our body warm and also provide us energy. Okay, students. What are fats? The fats keeps our body warm. Okay, students, and also provides us energy. Means the energy that we needed for the do any work, the fats are needed. So the main energy source, we can say that fats is there. Okay, students, and then the fats are also further divided into two parts. There are two types of fats. Let us discuss that. First type number 1, I am writing here. Those which are mostly solid at room temperature. Room temperature. Example is given butter. Okay students, this is the first type of fats, and the second type is those which are mostly those which are mostly liquid at room temperature. An example is given vegetable oil. Okay students, so these fats are of mainly two types. Okay students, first of all, what is fats? Fats keeps our body warm and also provides us energy. What are fats? So fats keeps our body warm and also provides us energy. And the fats are further divided into two types, that is those which are mostly solid at room temperature. We have seen the butter that it is not solid at the room temperature. If you heat it, okay students, so it will form in the liquid. And those which are mostly liquid at room temperature, that is vegetable oil. If you cool the vegetable oil, then it is also converts to the liquid to solid substance. Okay students, so these are the main two types of the fats. Okay students, now we will see the main source of the fat. Okay students, let's see that. See here, oil, ghee, nuts, butter, cream and cheese are the rich source of the fat. Fats are also present in milk, fish, meat and eggs. Okay, we all know the main source of the fats are oil, ghee, butter, cheese, paneer. That we know that if anybody says that butter, cheese and paneer, then our mouth is watering, that we have to eat it. So these are the fats. Okay, I am writing the next point, that is sources of fat over here. We all know that we are eating all kinds of food, but we don't know that how much fats and carbohydrates or vitamins or minerals are there in the food. So now in this chapter we will see that which food have which vitamins, which fats, which starch, sugars, etc. Okay students, so next point was we have the sources of fats. The main sources of fats are oil, ghee, nuts, butter, cream and cheese. Okay students, the main sources of the fats are oil, ghee, nuts, butter, cream and cheese. And also we get fats from the egg, milk and etc. Okay students, now next we will see is fat gives, here there is a picture of nuts, cream, cheese, butter and oil, and then we will see fats gives us much more energy than carbohydrate. A limited amount of fats is important in the diet for healthy functioning of the body. Our body need fats for the healthy diet and for the working of our body. The fats are needed. However, eating too much fats can be harmful. Excess amount of fats consumed are stored in cells called the fat cells in our body. Over a period of time, this led to a condition called obesity, that in that excessive and harmful fat deposited in body and may also causes heart disease. Junk food such as sweet, chips, fries, burgers, candies, and soft drinks are harmful because they are poor in their nutrition content, but they have high amount of fats and sugar. Means we have to eat some of the limited fats food. If we eat more fats, then it harms to our body and causes heart disease. Okay, students. Now there is an activity that how much the fat is present or not. There is an activity. Let us discuss then we will over this video. Okay, sir. To test the presence of fats in the food sample, material needed: food sample, a filter sheet of filter paper, a heavy object that crush the food, solid food substances. Method: if the sample is liquid, add few drops of foodstuff on the filter paper. Then, if the sample is solid, keep it between the fold of a filter paper and crush it. Remove any food particles from the paper and let it dry. Hold the paper against a light source. An oily translucent stain can be seen on the filter paper. The food sample contains fat. Means there is a filter paper. If we put that food between the filter paper and crush it, and then we will take all the food out of that, and if we see in the light there is some oily substance that are fats. Okay, students, so now we will over this video. Now please write down your today's homework. Okay, students, so your today's homework, today we have what we have studied. We have studied the carbohydrate and fats. We have studied about the two components of the food, that is carbohydrates and fat. Okay, students, now please write down your today's homework. See here, your today's homework is Your today's homework, question number 1, that is list the main component of food. Okay, students, and question 2, that is discuss the types of carbohydrates and their rich sources. Okay, students, so this is your today's homework. List the main components of the food, and question 2, discuss the types of the carbohydrates and their rich sources. Okay, students, up till then, stay safe, stay home. Okay, bye, students.